Hello, everybody, and welcome or welcome back to the second shelf and to another Recent Reads on Sunday, my bi-monthly, I guess, video about the stuff that I read or am currently reading. And I will start off with a book because normally it's really recent reads. So, last week, 2 weeks, maybe 3. But this is like months ago, and it occurred to me that I never talked about the book after I finish it, and that is Emilia Pardo Bazan, The House of Ulloa, translated from the Spanish by Paul O'Prey. The book is on my 1001 books that I want to read by women that I want to read before I die. The lighting is weird today. It's because it's really gray and raining. But anyway, don't let that distract you like it distracts me. But anyway, so this is on my 1001 list, but it was also, as you can see in the description box below, it was also one of the 6 classics that I picked to read in 2024. And this was the August-September pick, I think. You will find the information below. And I read it actually in August. And then I never talked about it. Anyway, so this is was published in the late 19th century, 1886, if I'm not mistaken. And it follows a priest whose name escapes me, Father Julian Alvarez. And he is sent to a little village where there is this big landlord, and that's the House of Ulloa. And of course, not only plot takes off from there. It's not that much plot in the book, but it's more about Julian trying in vain to save the souls of the people living there, especially the patriarch, the head of the household. I thought, like with a lot of these types of classics, I'm always happy that I read them, that I have a better understanding of the times and the life. And I Googled a lot, and I Googled the author. But it's not one of those books that that really grabs me. It's more an intellectual exercise, and it's not that I disliked it, but like I said, it's not a book that grabbed me. But I did finish it, and I'm happy that I put it on my list. So if you read along, let me know what you thought. I did already talk about the September, October, so this was July, August, and the September, October pick, which was George Sand, Indiana, translated from the French by Sylvia Raphael. So I did talk about that. And upcoming next, the last one for November and December, is this Japanese classic from 900 and something, Gossamer Years, translated by Edward Seidensticker. So if you want to read along, this one will be the pick for November, December. I'm not sure I will continue with this list of classics because I feel that I'm overscheduling myself with reading, so we'll see. But we'll finish this year definitely with reading Gossamer Years. Okay, back to the books that I actually read recently. The first one was a buddy read with Kathleen, from Kathleen Ann, who is not active on YouTube at the moment, but I'm sure she will come back. And we read Nightbitch by Rachel Yoder, published 2 or 3 years ago. Let me check. Now I can't find it. 2021, 2 or 3 years ago. It's about right. The lighting definitely is weird, which also means that I'm kind of not in focus, but Just listen to my voice. This was a debut novel. Rachel Yoder is an American author. And I read this in the context of my Unhinged Women project, because the protagonist in this book definitely qualifies. So we have the mother. There are no names, at least not for the main protagonist. For the side characters, there are names, but for the main characters, you have mother, husband, and son. The son is about 3 years old, 3 years old. The mother used to be an artist, not unsuccessful, also teaching, giving workshops and things like that. And the husband has a more well-paying corporate job. So when the son came along, she quit her job. And this is about the mother dealing with motherhood, and quite an unpleasant child, I have to say. I mean, yeah, I don't have children, so it's probably not my place to be critical, but I don't think this child ever heard the word no in the whole book, but that's not the point. The point is the husband is mostly away during the week. He comes home only for the weekends, work related, and he's a nice guy. He's not, it's a situation, if you look at the marriage, that is the best possible. So you have a nice husband, you have enough money. She's not a single mom struggling to put food on the table, but she struggles. And she, if you can see from the, see these canines here, they're very sharp. She kind of first thinks, but maybe she does develop into a dog, and it's animal instinct. And I did like the book, but I didn't love it. I thought, Jesus, where did that come from? I have no idea. That's what you get when you get old. You have stuff that, anyway. So the first half, I thought was brilliant. This idea how to have a fresh look at motherhood and how strenuous it is and how sleep deprived you are, especially if you are doing it all by yourself. The child doesn't go to daycare, so she is with the child 24/7. Except for the weekend, she does it alone when her husband comes. And I thought this idea that you would tap into the kind of you want to be, an animal and run free and just howl and growl and eat. I thought that was really well done. And then the second half, it did not really come together that well as a story, and that's a pity. And I blame not the author because it's her debut, but I blame her editor. The editor should have said, "This is a brilliant idea. You can write. The writing is good. It's funny. It's poignant. It addresses issues that are very current, topical. About the life of women, but." The second half needed to get the story. And I don't mean tie it all up nicely, with this pretty little bow, but it needs to be a story in the end. And that was just not successful. But I'm certainly looking out for another book by this author, because I think she's interesting and she can write and she has ideas. The next book I finished was a collection of essays, Mothers, Fathers, and Others by Siri Hustvedt. Siri Hustvedt is one of my favorite contemporary still living writers. She's an American from Norwegian descent, and she's now in her late 60s. So there's still some time to go, hopefully. And this is her latest essay collection, published also a couple of years ago. And it's about relationships. It's about motherhood. It's very feminist. I loved it. She had, and it was also by chance a really great companion book to this one, because there are some essays in here about exactly the issue that Rachel Yoder addresses in her novel. The expectation of society when it comes to women who are mothers, and how much pressure you are under in order to be the perfect mom. And one example here that really struck me was about time, because one of the issues here in the Nightbitch, excuse me, the Nightbitch was that the mother just did not have any space for herself in terms of time, or, and Siri Hustvedt says, well, the way we look at time for yourself is very different for mothers and fathers. So once you have a child, a mother is supposed to have given up all her time to the child. So if she needs time to read or whatever, she has to take that back. And that's often frowned upon. Whereas the father, he has still, after he is a father, all the time to himself. So he is encouraged to give some of his time to the child. And I thought that was so to the point. But there are other essays about other things. And I think she is a really, really interesting thinker. She also talks about art. And I love her as a novelist. We will talk about a novel of hers a little later. So this was definitely a success. And then the last book I read was a reread, and that was Naomi Klein's book, Doppelganger, published last year. Important is the subtext, the subtitle, A Trip into the Mirror World. I thought it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and certainly also on the second read. The book's premise is that Naomi Klein realizes that she is often mistaken for the other Naomi Woolf. If you are a feminist and were a feminist in the 80s, you know Naomi Woolf because she published books that spoke to us, the feminist agenda, the beauty myth, But she turned completely 180 degrees around and is now an alt-right conspiracy theorist, anti-vaxxer, Steve Bannon fan. So it's not... It would have made sense, more or less, if Naomi Klein had been mistaken for Naomi Woolf back in the 80s, because she is more of a climate a change writer, corporations, no logo, marketing, that type of stuff, but they are sort of in the same corner. But now they are not. So it's really weird if you are mistaken for Naomi Woolf, if you are Naomi Klein. But anyway, so that's the entrance point into the book. And then she explores the mirror world, as she says. So the world of Naomi Woolf and Steve Bannon, and that other reality, because people there think what they talk about is real. And we look at them and think they're crazy, and they look at us and think we are crazy. So Naomi Klein tries to get to grips with why is that, and what does that say about our current culture in the West, and what does it say about social media and how that developed. I thought it was fascinating, and it certainly deserves a second read, because I understood much more the second time round. Speaking about rereads, that's one of the things that I decided for the last 3 months, October, November, December of this year, that I would try and focus also on rereading books, either from this year, like this one I read at the beginning of the year, or other books that I, when I look at my bookshelf, that I really enjoyed or want to read again, and focus on that rather, and buddy reads. I also read new books that I haven't read before, especially when it comes to buddy reads. But I really want to kind of want to ground my reading for the rest of the year to see what I really enjoyed or maybe what I missed. I have a couple of books on my rereading list that I was kind of meh about, but thought maybe I was not in the right frame of mind, given all the shit that happened this year. So the rereading project is something that so far I'm really, really enjoying. Speaking of which, another reread, talking about Siri Höstvedt, I'm reading this with Heidi from My Reading Life, and we are reading The Summer Without Man, one of her shorter novels published 2011, about Mia, a 55-year-old woman who is ditched by her husband because he needs a pause, and the pause is French and 20 years younger and also a scientist. The husband, Boris, is a scientist. And I really wanted to reread this, and Heidi wanted to try out Siri Höstvedt, so we are reading this at the moment, and I'm 2/3. We have another check-in today. So I'm really enjoying the wit and the humor and the sarcasm of this 55-year-old, and it's nuanced because she still loves her husband. Her husband is not an abusive asshole. He just is, after he's in his 60s, but anyway, I'm really enjoying the reread. And the next book I will pick up is a book for Victober, which is also on the list for 1001 Women and also on Sandy's book club list. Sandy is also a bit absent because she has so much else going on. But for October, our pick was The Real Charlotte by Edith Somerville, and here it says Martin Ross, but that is a nom de plume for Violet Martin. So it's two female authors. And this is about Charlotte, who is not very young, not very pretty, and her cousin, Francie, who is quite the opposite. And yeah, I picked this up because this couple, or this writing couple, is Irish. And I'm always looking, if it's Victober, I try to read Irish literature because that's one of my focus countries that I want to read more about. So this will be read in October, even though it is already, what is it today, the 20th or something. Real Charlotte. Yes. So these were my recent, not so recent, and current reads. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. As always, I'm looking forward to your comments, and I will see you all soon in the next one, next Sunday.